Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and this is the second part of our Chaos Knight Armiger conversion build and paint. If you haven't seen the first half, I encourage you to go back and watch that, as it is pretty awesome. And you can see how we got to like where we're at right now. Um, but I'll go ahead and just kind of pull him up here, and you can see we're doing the house Herpetrax color scheme, and this is what we have so far on our custom conversion. And basically all we did was we went through and did like black primer and base coat, and then did a dry brush of our silver over top of it, and we did the lead belcher for that. And then after we did like the dry brush and lead belcher, we just went through and just like blocked out all the colors. So we basically just picked like each panel or wherever we were gonna like paint, and we just picked that color and just blocked out like that complete area with that one color. And then from there, we basically would just go through, get like the gold trim around each portion of it, or pick out like the little bits of detail. But we haven't used any highlighting. We haven't used any like washes or anything like that. All we used so far was like that actual dry brushing, and then like the we did do a null and oil. I'm sorry, we did black, then lead belcher, then we washed it all in. You could do null and oil or agrax earthshade, depending like which one you wanted to go with. But after that, we went through, picked out all the details, and just blocked it out. And then I went in and I picked out like the different decals that I wanted to apply to them. And you can see like I did some smaller ones like on the legs, and on like the plates down here and everything. And then some larger ones up top. But I went by the codex and like how it kind of showed off like where they were to be put and everything. And because it's an Armiger, and it needed to be like the smaller ones, I had to trim some of them. So what I did was I got like the basic decal like where I wanted it to go, and then I let it overhang after I got it all wet and applied it. I let it overhang a little bit, waited for it to completely dry. I like use a Q-tip to pull away like the moisture, and then after that I'll go back in and trim the decal with like a really sharp knife. And then I went back through and of course use the micro sole, and don't mind the fact that it's in the paint can. It just keeps it from spilling. And then also after that's dry and everything, we do the same thing, and we use the micro set after that, and then it helps the decal to like perfectly like melt down and become like one with like the curved surface and everything, and it makes up for like any little bits of like bubbles or anything that might be in there. So now right now, we have like a lot of just random colors and everything, and we just want to kind of bring it all together and tie it together. So now when we come in like with all of our washes and our shades and everything, it's going to give like the whole thing kind of like a uniform look, and kind of bring out a lot of the details and everything, and we can make what we want to like stand out and look like a little more cooler. And then it's going to kind of just blend in any like imperfections or anything. And then obviously because it's nurgle, we got to make it like a little like worn and kind of plaguey looking and everything. But the decals like came out awesome, and he already looks sweet. So he's gonna look great once we add a little bit of like shades and everything. So what you want to do next is basically like pick out what our like predominant color is gonna be. And so because the colors we're using are all like that like drab green and black, and like the fleshy color and everything, I think we want to go with like a brown basically. But maybe on the gold you could use something with like a little bit more of a red in it, like Reichland Flesh Shade. So we'll go through and just do like a little bit of a basic wash over all this, and kind of see where he ends up. But real quick, it was just cool that I was working on this kill team as well. This is like a little bit of a Death Guard kill team. So we're gonna get some stuff done on these bad boys. But it was just like convenient that I had this night that I had to work on. Um, or should I say get to work on. And then like these guys are kind of conversions. I didn't really like the traditional poxwalkers, so I actually like cut off all like the weird like spikes and everything coming out of them, and then like a couple arms and stuff like that as well, and repose like a few of them. Made them look like a little more like mean and zombie like, I think. And I like how they came out like honestly like a lot better. This dude has no arms, so He's not really that scary in real life, but his ugly face and stomach makes up for it. But I thought they came out pretty cool. This guy's got like a giant hole in his head. It kind of remind me like a little bit of more like regular zombies. This guy's got like a bionic arm and everything. And then these dudes, it's actually a kill team that I'm working on. So this dude has like a blight launcher, but he's like a giant like beast dude. So he has like a blight launcher that's like the size of like a vehicle weapon. And then I got a couple of blades on this bro. This dude's like a super possessed guy with like a power fist. He's like the squad leader and he's getting ready to throw a grenade. And then we got our just regular old plasma bro. And last but not least, well, there's a couple other foxwalkers, but this dude's got like the giant plague cleaver. Pretty cool little conversion there. So looking forward to finishing painting all them up. But we're gonna go through and just get some stuff done on this night and see how this looks. But the decals already look great, or transfers, I should say. And then obviously, you know, you just save this because there's like a million left over here. And then with Chaos too, it's not like all your guys are going to be Herpatrax necessarily. You might have like another guy that's a free blade or whatever. Same with like, you know, any other faction. You might have like a couple different Space Marine factions or whatever. So, you know, you can save all these and they're still like nice and usable and everything. But we're going to go through and hit these with a little bit of shade and see how it looks in a minute here. Oh, and we did do the base as well. And again, we just like dry brush that our typical way. And if you haven't watched our other videos on like the microsol and microset or the basing or any of that stuff, you know, go back and check those out because it'll definitely get you where you need to be. But we just did like the just like the highlights here with the same colors. When I say highlights, I just mean like picked out a couple key colors on this custom base we made. So we used like that gold again, and then we used like our silver and just kind of picked out some of that. And then when we hit it with the wash, it should stand out like a little more. We'll do some like little highlights and everything, and we'll have this bro looking pretty awesome here. And I've got Seraphim Sepia right here, and just make sure you shake it up real good. But I'm gonna start with that over top of the green, and then I may do like some specific areas where I do like something darker. But I didn't want to jump right into like Reichland or to Agrax, Earthshade, or Nuln Oil like right away. I'd rather do like Seraphim Sepia and kind of see how that sits on it. So it's not like too dark that it's like muddying up the green. So we're just going to kind of see how that looks on an area like out of the way. And then, oh yeah, that's like perfect what we're looking for. Yeah, yeah. We just want to make sure like the green is still like really shining through, but then we're also getting like, you know, the transition we want between them, because obviously it's nurgle, so we want it to look like kind of grimy in there. And then we're gonna go through like at the end and you know, do some of our like technical paints and stuff like that, and that should like really give us like some awesome like final effects and everything. So yeah, that's what we're looking for right there. Just want to see exactly how it interacts like with your colors on a small like test area first. And like, I can't even stress this enough, I always say it, but you got to just make sure like with these shades or washes or whatever, that you really let them work. And in order to do that, you got to make sure you like put plenty on initially and like let it kind of like use gravity and the recesses and everything to move where it needs to move, and then you can like pull it off and then move it to another area before it dries. But you need to like let it like recess and let it really like build up how it wants to, or you don't get like the full effect of it. Oh yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for, because you want it to like still build up in some areas, but you don't want it to be like so thick that like it clouds up the detail or it just looks like ridiculous. Well, in this case, I mean, I guess it can't be too bad because it's nurgle, so Herpatrax can be like pretty much, you can just keep going on it. But I would rather put like a couple smaller layers, even if I was gonna go like real dark with washes and everything. I'd rather do like a couple smaller layers and build up to it with like a few different colors, rather than just like lay on like one just super dark thick layer. Because like a light color like this green, you don't want to just come in with like Nuln Oil. It's gonna just take over, and you're gonna have some areas that are like completely black, and then you're gonna have some areas where the green's like shining through like 90%. It's just not gonna look good. But this is definitely looking good. This is definitely the color you want to go with, in this case at least. You can see already. But you see what I mean? How it's kind of like pulling up a little bit, but you just want to make sure that it's still like natural and it's still how you want it. Like it's not like overly pulled up or overly dark. And you can still mess with it while it's still wet, but once it starts to like really dry, you don't want to mess with it, because the areas where it's not dried at, where there's like a drip or a bubble, if you move that, then it's going to be like light there and it'll be like dark all around it. So it'll look real funny. But you just want to make sure you get it like down in the recesses, obviously. I already got like a nice coat on this. This is okay to go over top like the steel areas too, that we painted. Because obviously, like, you know, we already like washed that color with something that's darker than this, because we use like the agrax earthshade on that. So this will add like a little more depth to it, but it's not really going to darken it up in the same way. It's more just going to give it like a little bit of like an oily look to it. And it does, it looks real good. And we'll do the same thing on the armor here. And we didn't hit the white yet that we did, because we wanted to use something like a little lighter. And that red, there's too much red inside of that Reikland flesh shade for the white. We could use it for the other stuff, but not for the white. And it's really not even white. It's Rakarth flesh. But we'll hit the black too, just to kind of give it the same kind of sheen on the finish. Maybe a little bit of like the brown kind of in the like crevices, kind of settles in there. And then same down here, we just want to make sure we get those panels. We're going to let it build up, but not too much. Oh, and if you didn't notice like the little wash like 3D printed thing, I probably would have just spilled it right there if I didn't have that thing. So especially trying to like pay attention to painting and doing a video and not spill your wash all at the same time. Flip it around here in the back. Do have to make sure that you give this plenty of time to dry too, because like when you lay it on real thick and wet like that, it takes a while to dry. So but there you can see, you know, we got our general look. Now look, there's just a little too much right there, so I'm gonna pull that. And if you take too much away, you can just put a little back, let it settle, kind of pull it where you want it to go, and then you can always come back and touch up like any of the areas where you get, before I jinx myself, any of the areas where you get like just a little bit too much, you know, you can come back and touch those up. So there we got them looking pretty good already, and it's starting to look uniform. And you'll see like even in the light, when we shine the reflection on it like that, you can't even see like the transfers, like little ridge that's like left behind. So that's perfect. It's giving us like the blend that we need. And you can kind of see how now it's making like the little writing out here like stand out a little bit more and everything, making the whole model look like a little more uniform. And as we continue to work on it, it's going to look better and better. Alright, and that's going to do it for today, guys. I'm Warhammer Man, this Warhammer Man Studios, and I'm signing off.